Okay, so before I start this video, just note that I'm not trying to truly call anyone out or try to start a war online again or anything. I just want to talk about this because this is super, super duper, super mega duper weird. And honestly, I don't know exactly what to say. Also, like I said in the previous video involving this topic, I only played Chapter 3. Now, of course, I do keep up with the lore, and that's not what we're going to be talking about, but I do kind of want to point that out. Because I am a big fan of Poppy Playtime, but I haven't played Chapter 1, 2, 4, or 5. I have seen the story, but, da da da. Um, and honestly, the subject I'm going to be talking about is a bit interesting to say the least, because it's something that came up out of nowhere. And honestly, I'm a bit super confused about it because it happened yesterday. Like, literally, no joke, the thumbnail, which I am also not going to truly show the person who made this video. You probably can find it on your own, but even then, don't try to harass this guy or whatever. Especially since, to be fair, there's something he did that makes me be like, yeah, okay, a little bit. Although that's only because he wasn't the only one saying this stuff. But apparently there was an incident that happened yesterday involving this game, to say the least, and it's super weird, and I want to talk about it because it brings up a very interesting, weird point. So for context, while everyone was probably back at home, waiting for the game to come out yesterday, because it did came out yesterday, at least to my knowledge, for at least right now for PC. It hasn't been coming out on the consoles yet, but it's obviously going to later on, which I'm thinking about. Maybe I need to get all the other chapters. I'm going to probably get all of them and play them, even though I already know the story. But anyways, it came out, and meanwhile, while everyone's going out there, I was just busy, doing my job. I have a work. I actually have work to do. Gotta do, like, tags. Gotta build some stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Work. Same thing with something like Pokemon ZA. I did play on the first day, but I couldn't play in the morning. I had to go to work. I'm not going to be like Charlie from Smiley Friends. I'm not going to take a day off from work to see a story of a game. Heck, I'm not even playing the game, so it wouldn't matter. And even then, I can listen to it through the earphones, which luckily I was able to because Super Horrible Mike basically did a whole video on it. Pretty cool video, recommend it. But pretty much, straightforward, came out yesterday. So that wasn't a big issue. Here's where the weirdness comes in. Apparently, while many, including myself, was waiting until the story to drop and all that gobbledygoo, weirdly enough, and I do mean weirdly enough, there's been videos popping up in the morning saying that Poppy Playtime's been delayed again. And I'm like, are we sure about that? Like, huh? To say the least. The reason why is because I actually did watch a little bit of the video. That, by the way, is this thumbnail. Which, by the way, that's not a joke. At time recording, this video appeared yesterday morning. Hence the whole one day thing, if you ever seen it. But anyways, the person was saying, and to give credit, this is the reason why, again, I won't blame the specific person thumbnail here, because it wasn't just them, it was a few others, but also B, he was smart enough, and honestly, they said, hey, maybe we should wait until time zones and stuff, which he did got right. Like, no offense to that person, that is true. I mean, but I just had a weird conundrum, and I have to point this out. Why did everyone was making spam videos of this? It wasn't just him, it was a bunch of other people and all that. Like, they were like saying Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 was super delayed because it didn't come out at 12 o'clock a.m. I'm like, really? I know some games are a little bit late on time, but at least they're still, like, that's the reason why they don't just put, like, a timer by their release dates. Like, huh? Like, it's super weird, because that was super weird. It's like, and as you can see, the only reason why, and again, I'm not trying to go on anyone's problems here, but as you notice, including the thumbnail I'm using, which I will admit, actually came from that person's video that, like, literally is clickbait. Hell, they didn't put delayed, they just put canceled, and I'm like, You could just put delay and be honest, right? Again, I'm not trying to go after anyone with this. It's just because it just bugs me a little bit. But really, the reason why I'm not trying to go too much after it is my only theory for this is the fact that people still haven't gone over with mod entertainment, to say the least. And not to mention, to be fair, Chapter 5 is definitely still causing a little bit of controversy. Despite that, honestly, it is an improvement, at least for Chapter 4, I think. I don't know, I haven't played it, but I have seen gameplay of it. I already know the story of it. Honestly, I think they did a lot of improvements, even if I haven't played it. For example, they didn't do the VDS tapes this time around. Well, they did, but they just made it as truly Easter eggs, and now they basically made it like Bioshock, where you listen to the audio while you're doing stuff. So that was smart of them, to say the least. Yeah, it sucks, but hey, to be fair, it gets much more audio cues. Plus, it makes sense. And even then, you still got the VHS. There you go. It's fine. That's actually a good improvement because that was one of the biggest complaints because they're basically getting the tape players confused with other tape players, if you know what I mean. Which is fine. Not to mention they did kind of streamline the story, they didn't overbloat it. Everything kind of flowed smoothly. Not a lot of villains, just, the three main ones they showed. But of course, there were a lot of controversies. The biggest one I know for sure that's already bubbling, even if many don't see it right now, is the fact that many are probably annoyed that Chapter 5 is just Chapter 5, not the final chapter. Which, honestly, I will admit, I'm not one of those people. I actually am happy because I'm like, yay, in some way. But I understand because if you had seen the story, it feels like they should have just killed off the prototype at the end. It feels like that. Like, I get it, they're supposed to show, like, how God mode this villain is, but for fuck's sake, it really does feel like it should have been the ending, and that's it. Not to mention, they're kind of milking it all the way through, like, to say the least. And then, of course, there's the other issue. I'm trying to think of some of the issues, because there are issues that people are taking problems with this game. Now I remembered prototype's design. I think it's fine. I jokingly see people's point of making the jokes about it being compared to an indie animation character, if you know what I mean. Like Poppy, I think that's how they call her name. I don't watch that much Digital Circus. I don't even care about it, but I do know who they're referring to. And but at the same time, it's supposed to be a balance. It's not perfect, but that's the point. It's a prototype kind of thing. I don't know. It depends on your thing, and I get it. Like, I totally get it. It's not like the skeleton monster that people were hoping for. But hey, at least it's an okay design. Not to mention, it's pretty good that we see more lore and stuff. And I'm not going to spoil everything, but trust me, Chapter 5 has some pretty good lore. Like, they keep evolving into darkness, and that is pretty cool, to say the least. Plus, we get some good revelations. But getting back to the true point here, which really bugs me, and there's another problem too, because trust me, there's another person that's even worse, but I don't even remember their names. And even then, like I said, I'm not going to try to put some actual names on people here. Because again, I get why, I'll get to it in a bit. But there was also someone who was pulling a stupid prank saying that, hey, I hacked into Steam. I got the fucking game. And I'm like, motherfucker, it comes out today. Like, I haven't seen the date. I will say that. I haven't seen the date. But it's like, are you fucking with us right now? Especially when I saw the beginning of the video, because they didn't even, like, if you are going to fake it, why not just start where you left off? Like, literally, the original game made sense to start off where they left off. You're supposed to start off with Huggy wanting to murder your butt. That's literally it. No, you start off in a hospital bed. What the hell? It's a real thing that happened. I think the guy even deleted it afterwards, I think. I don't know. If you've seen the video I'm talking about, you know what I'm referring to. But, again, like I said, I'm not trying to, like, cause any fights or anything. I just want to talk about how weird it is. But I also kind of want to see if I can explain this kind of thing. Because I get it. Like, Modern Entertainment, if you don't know, this is sort of kind of like a true redemption arc. If you know this company, like they have a lot of problems. I even heard they had a lot of problems as well during the development of Chapter 4. And trust me, when I do mean literally redemption arc, I literally mean it. Because when Poppy Playtime first came out, I'm gonna admit too, Chapter 1 sucked, obviously. But it got even worse with Chapter 2 because A, there was the accusation of them doing cyberbullying as to the extreme, which I think is true. It is an accusation, and what I've seen, it seems pretty plausible. It's not an accusation; it's a fact that they did cyberbullying. And they also did something that isn't an accusation, but a fact. They started doing crappy NFTs for teasers for Chapter 2. This is true. But, and of course, like I said, I don't know the situation because I wasn't paying attention to it too much, but there was a situation during Chapter 4 after the development of Chapter 3, so I don't know about that. Please do let me know. But again, they have a little bit of a rocky history. But admittedly, kind of after Chapter 3 in some ways, it seems like they've been trying to improve, to say the least. And it's really good. And I really do hope they do improve, at least internally, because they have literally a sad repetition, bad history, track record. I don't know why I can't say reputation correctly. There we go. But it really is, which is why, again, I'm not too surprised this is happening because I understand people are really annoyed. And again, I also understand there was a lot of concern because this was at first thought to be the final chapter. And even then, this was still a big chapter because they were introducing the main villain's face and all that gobbledygoo. It's showing how much this guy is, God mode monster kind of thing. And trust me, this monster is. I think they nailed it on the head. But it really was concerning, especially since in the previous video we talked about how people were like literally, although not intentionally, but literally like comparing them to Pokemon because just like Game Freak rushing the crap out of their franchise, this felt like the same. Although this time around, it seems like they nailed the hammer that they're not going to be like Game Freak, which kind of is a thank God. Like, no offense to Pokemon and all that, but really, even I can't deny, especially a little bit after Scarlet Violet, that they really need to slow the fuck down. Like, not, no offense to Scarlet Violet, I love Scarlet and Violet, but holy shit. And especially, and also with ZA, that's your opinion, but to be fair, I mean, it's like, I do kind of see the point of people's attention with ZA, especially DLC. DLC sucks balls. Normal game, fine. DLC sucks all types of balls. Just saying. But, it's understandable there was a lot of frustration with this. And I think we're going to see that ongoing with this game series. Since, again, it's kind of surprising this was just Chapter 5, to say the least. Even though I'm happy for it, even I will admit there is a little bit, to say the least. Because even Mandated Adventure just ended on their third game. They didn't have 5 games. They ended on the third game. And Five Nights at Freddy's, well, be fair, it had multiple, but they also tended to end it on the third game. So, I don't know. Like, my only theory is why they're continuing the series is because of merchandising, which makes sense. But then, why don't you just make spin-offs? I think they are building up to it, to say the least. Because they did double down and confirm there is a Poppy Playtime Park coming out and all that gobbledygook through the game. So, in short, I really don't know, to say the least. But again, I just want, and like I said, I'm not trying, I know I keep repeating this, but I really need to make it clear. I'm not trying to cause any fights or anything. I'm just super confused on if that was the reason why people were saying it was delayed. Like, the only thing I'll say is, if the game hasn't come out in that day, then don't panic. Like the guy said in one of his videos, because again, I think the guy, even though his thumbnail is a little bit clickbaiting here, and I want to blame him, but still, I don't think you should have just changed it to delay and not canceled, because that's my only thing. But to be fair, he does have a point. Not every game is going to be released on 12 o'clock a.m. I mean, heck, the Pokemon ZA DLC um came out until 8 o'clock a.m. before today. So it's not like every game is going to come out on time. They are going to come out on the date, hopefully, for the most part, but not on time. And even then, if it was delayed, that wouldn't have been a bad issue. I know delay nowadays are like warning flags because trust me, most of the time when you hear delays with video games, you know they're fucking up. There's no denying that. But this wasn't like a big company trying to not delay or something like that. This is more so of an indie developer who actually means well with their crafts, even though, again, justifiably so. I mean, to be fair, they're even more on time than Mia the Holler. Mia the Holler is suffering like hell right now with that. Like, literal hell. At least they got their date right, unlike the Yacht Club Games. Oh boy. But anyways, I just wanted to talk about this because this is weird to say the least. But main lesson here is make sure you're not trying to make up stories or anything. Don't lie about saying you hack into Steam, which I still don't get. And P.S. just to clarify, I'm talking about a different guy. There's two different guys I'm talking about. The guy I'm using the thumbnail thing, blah blah, is a different guy, but the other one is like, oh my god. So it's two separate guys, but please do not say that. Like, there's already a lot of bad content of Poppy Playtime and freaking. Don't get me started on freaking Garden of Crappy Bam Bam, who believes school shooting, blah blah blah. That's a different story, all the way. But then of course, also in short, just wait for it. It's going to come out when it comes out. Trust me, I had a similar situation happen during my pre-order of ZA, even though that's a pre-order, so I don't care. But it's not the end of the world. It is definitely not the end of the world. You just gotta wait. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyways, this has been Floxcat. Snapping out here. Bye bye.